Howdy Commanders, Echo here. Today I'd like to share a short companion piece to my recent Do Your Job video regarding battleships. If y'all remember, job number 1 for a battleship is to shoot the cruisers. If the evidence in that video was not compelling enough for you, the footage you are about to see should illuminate with the radiance of 1,000 suns why BB's number 1 concern is to shoot the cruisers. I'm in the Tier 5 tech tree Soviet cruiser, the Budyonny. I've built it as a radar Budyonny because you build Budyonny as a radar Budyonny. Radar at Tier 5. Come on now. It has been an age since I played a Soviet cruiser, aside from Kutyazov and AI for my weekly premium supplies. So, this game may be a little on the sloppy side from time to time. Heck, cruisers in general I haven't really been playing all that much, and they're definitely my least played class in the last couple of months or so, maybe since early to mid-summer. My cruiser playing time has really dropped off. So just keep that in mind. You know, it's not the most perfect game by any means, but it is still a bit of a ripper. We're with Shadow in the Gepard. He's in that Tier 5 Tech Tree French Destroyer, backing us up, doing some spotting for us. We're on north. We're at the southwest or alpha spawn, which is just totally shocking. I get this spawn like 90% of the time. Leave it in the comments below if you're noticing that pattern where you tend to get a spawn on a given map sort of disproportionately, right? Most maps have roughly 6 spawns, give or take, and you would think you'd get each of those spawns about 1/6 of the time, but I'm noticing, at least on some maps, that that is not really the case, at least for me and the people that I division with some regularity. So leave it in the comments below if you're noticing that pattern as well. Hopefully you noticed that this is a relatively high DD count game. The Reds and the Blues both have 5 DDs. I'm the only cruiser on our team, and there's a Leander for cruisers on the other team. Well, that leaves 3 battleships on the enemy team. If you notice there, the Arizona spawn at Bravo, he seems to be drifting this way. Queen is on this spawn. We waited for him to shoot at our Fuso there. And unfortunately, right as we shot, I mean, my trigger was still partially depressed from pulling it, and the Fubuki popped up. He slams the brakes on, tries to drop his smoke screen. We get a decent little hit on him there. Now, it's been about 30-ish seconds since Queen Elizabeth shot. I'm at a pretty good angle for him to Citadel me with that short fuse British AP. I don't know why I'm still alive. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a running theme for this battle. Now, I'm doing a little trick here to see about my radar range. There is no dotted line on the minimap that tells you what your radar range is on the minimap. Hashtag Dear Wargaming, that'd be very nice. So one way you can tell, like, if you're in range, you can zoom in and use the distance to target to see, like, oh, is that piece of terrain, is that smoke screen within my radar range or sonar range, etc. Shadow pulls first blood there on the Fubuki thanks to my radar spotting. I didn't pick him up immediately. He was still beyond my 8.1 range, but we kept pushing in, and he was actually in reverse a little bit. He got within that 8.1, and Shadow was able to take him out. Unfortunately, I don't know if he caught it, but Shadow did catch an errant torp there. He was low. Icarus takes him down. Bit unfortunate there, but Icarus is going to pay for that. We're going to light him up quite a bit. And again, we're not being like super careful with our armor angling. This is a high DD count domination game. We're the only cruiser. Yes, we're probably being a bit risky here, but these DDs are presenting themselves as targets. We've got rapidly reloading guns that are laser accurate, high velocity. We've got to try to take advantage of shooting those DDs when we can. If we get blapped by a battleship, that's what happens. But in this high DD count game, we've just got to deal with the DDs when they're there. When they're giving us the opportunity to shoot at them, we've got to shoot at them. Yes, we're probably overextending a little bit. We're way too risky in terms of our broadside to those 2 battleships. Look at that. Look at the minimap. I am completely flat broadside to 2 battleships, including one of which is in Arizona. Like, I should not be alive. I haven't, to my recollection, taken an incoming shell yet. One of the DDs on the enemy team is dead because of my radar spotting, and we did some damage to him. The Icarus is dead almost exclusively because I was shooting at him. Now we're lighting up Gepard. It's just been one DD after another after another. One, set him up, knock him down type of thing here. Meanwhile, I'm just running roughshod all over this alpha western flank. These DDs have no chance over here with a Budyani shooting at them every 7.6 seconds with these awesome guns. I'm not running Equilibrium of Power. I'm actually in this game trying to do the Citadel, 10 Citadels in a single game hard mode challenge. So I went for Refill Station. Yes, it's not a huge improvement to your reload, but every couple of tenths of a second counts when you're trying to take advantage of a broadside target and hit them for as many Citadels as you can. So that's why I've built it the way I have in this particular game. If I was going for absolute like peak performance, I'd probably be doing Equilibrium of Power. So we've taken out Gepard. We're at 23,000 damage. I think that's our second, now third salvo at a battleship. That's 20,000 damage on destroyers. Meanwhile, I've been flashing my skirt all over the place to these two battleships, Arizona and Queen. They've done nothing about it. As I said, I don't think I've taken an incoming shell yet, and if I have, nothing's hit me. I'm at full health. I don't have heals. This is obscene. This right here is why battleships should be shooting the cruisers. Like I said, that Queen shot her first salvo at my Fuso. I was still as yet unspotted, but as soon as I shot at the Queen, I was lit. I think I've been spotted the entire game since then. I should be dead 4 times over by now. Arizona still didn't have his guns at me. Queen still doesn't have his guns at me. I have 2 kills and have majorly contributed to killing that first Fubuki and dinged up the Arizona a little bit with some fire damage. Like I said, we're steamrolling these guys on the western flank. Not exclusively as a result of a Budyani that's running around unchecked, but it's definitely a major factor. Now we're going to flip to the AP on this broadside Queen. Do not underestimate the Soviet 152 AP. This stuff rips, especially when you're running punch through. That's one of the actual buffs that Wargaming kind of maybe didn't account for with shifting Equilibrium of Power to the legendary slot. Is now it's not a trade-off of like, punch through or EOP. Am I going to focus more on AP or HE? Cool guys don't look at explosions, by the way. And now finally, Koenig starts paying some attention to me. But it's too little too late. Look at the ship count. We've got a cap. We've had Bravo for a considerable portion of the game. Sure, they're now flipping it, but this game is largely in garbage time. And if I'm allowed to close with this Koenig and do to him what I want to do, while all of these friendly blues behind me are also shooting at him, he's not long for this game either. As I was saying, Wargaming shifting, look at that target selection. I mean, yeah, shoot at the destroyers, but when you've got a super fast lance of a Budyani charging you down with 4-kilometer torps, who's relatively high health, and you can overmatch his bow armor, probably should have saved that AP salvo for the Budyani, but anyway, as I was saying, shifting Equilibrium of Power to Legendary might not have been the best choice, because now Punch Through is just the obvious choice. I do get Dev Struck there, but we got the torps off, we flashed a little side. I knew they were going to hit, because where was he going to go? We get the Flesh Wound with the torps. Pretty much set this game into complete 100% garbage time. We're up 500 to 137. Sure, they're up 2 caps to 1, but our team has a numerical advantage that will allow them to take this game home for the W. But not before the enemy, Red Gepard, gets a little bit of a consolation prize by gunning down our friendly Fubuki. Fubuki is going to end up doing pretty well in this game, and actually he's going to earn high caliber, so good on him for that. And good on the Red Gepard, because he's also going to re-flip Alpha before the end of the game. So a little bit of consolation prizes for him there, but we did end up walking away with the W on this one. And a large part of that was because a Budyani was allowed to just run rampant all over a whole host of destroyers out on the western flank. And that was because the battleships did not do their job. If that Queen and or Arizona would have given me the time of day, I was gone, and both of those ships are easily capable of one-shotting a Budyani that's, slightly bladed in towards them like I was. But that's the thing with this game. You have to assume your enemies are competent until they prove otherwise. We were careful there with that queen in that opening engagement, and then that player demonstrated that they weren't willing to shoot at me, so we adjusted accordingly and hunted down the DDs. Did over 70,000 damage, 20,000 plus of which was 2 DDs, which is huge. Got the flesh wound there on the Koenig, and it was not until a Koenig was right in my face, or more specifically, I was right in his face, that any battleship bothered to give me the time of day, which is fine. Allowed me to steamroll a bunch of DDs and help us win that alpha flank and eventually win the game. Now, this is not to pick on any one player or any group of players. This is just meant to further illustrate the point that I made in my earlier video, Do Your Job, number 1, Battleships. And that is, the Battleship's number 1 job is to kill the cruisers. If that Queen and or Arizona had ganged up on me, I'd either had to play very differently, hang back, been less effective against the DDs, or more likely they probably would have just deleted me in 2 salvos each, or less, and I'd have been off the board. Well, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on battleships not shooting the cruisers. Thanks an awful lot for listening, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, stay salty, Commanders.